This video is going to be centered around adding images into your OnShape model to sort of streamline the sketching process. There are going to be times where you want to add something, add a little design, but it might just be a little too complicated. So I'm going to run through a little example here of what I might mean for this. So what I'm going to do for our good old Keefe Tech Broncos is I want to add this logo into a drawing in OnShape. But the reality is I really don't want to draw this thing. I don't want to sketch it out. I would love to just take this and put it in there. So that's what I'm going to do. So the first thing I need to do is I need to download this. Notice how in my search bar I said Keefe Tech Broncos, and notice my little typo. Keefe Tech Broncos, and the files we're going to need to start off with is a PNG. So in this search bar, whenever you're searching up an image, try to put PNG in there so it can try and find that file type or something you can save as such. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to save image as. And I'm going to say this is my Bronco, I'm going to say KT Bronco logo, and make sure that this save as type is a PNG. If this is not the file you have, if you don't have that as an option, you're most likely going to find a new file as it's not going to work properly. Next thing you want to do is make sure you save this in a place where you're easily able to find it. For me, I'm going to put it in my desktop. Now I'm going to hit save. Now, just so we can see it, I'm going to drag this over and I have my Keefe Tech Bronco logo on my desktop. So the next thing we need to do to make this happen is we need to change this into a file type called a DXF. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look up DXF converter. And the one we want to use is this one called Convertio. So I'm going to open this up. It's going to take a second here. I'm going to click choose file. And I'm going to go up to my desktop or whatever place you saved it in. And I'm going to look at KT Bronco logo. I'm going to hit open. And then I'm going to hit convert. Notice how it's my image, the PNG file, to DXF. There are other ones here, but we are converting to a DXF, and then I'm going to hit convert. It's going to take a minute, so just hang in here and relax. While this is happening, I'm going to start to just open up OnShape for us, because that is going to be the next step. So notice how it's already done. Depending on the file size, it might take a little longer, but I'm going to download this and I'm going to put it back onto my desktop. So it's KT Bronco logo.dxf. I'm going to hang on to that file just for right there for right now. Just so we can see it, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and keep those in mind. So what I need to do is now I need to take that DXF file and I need to put it into OnShape so that I can actually use it, because you need all of your data, all of your files in OnShape before you can use them. You can't just pull them directly off your own files. So I'm going to upload it to my owned by me, and I already have a folder that you are going to make as well titled DXF underscore files underscore Ravidu. You're going to put your last name. This is just to make sure we always know where these files are going to be. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to get rid of this one. That's just something I've already used before. And how do we actually upload this thing? So I'm going to hit create. I'm going to hit import files. And I'm going to go back to my desktop because that's where an easy place I was able to find it. And I'm going to do KT Bronco logo.dxf. If you upload this file, you're not going to be able to do what we want. You can do it for something else, but we want to upload this as the Bronco logo file. It's going to take a second, then it's going to be in there. All right. So I'm going to go back to owned by me, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to create just our example nameplate in here. Obviously, you guys are going to be doing it in the class, but I'm just going to do a file right in my own folder personally. So I'm going to create a document, and I'm going to label this as nameplate example DXF file. Just so we know that we are starting out with a DXF to get on here. So I'm going to run through, just quickly make my beginning plate. So I'm going to hit the top, hit N for normal, and then I'm going to hit sketch. Just because I want to, I'm going to go with a center point circle. And from these dimensions, it needs to be a 9 by 5. I'm going to then extrude this out, and that extrusion needs to be 0.25 inches. So that is just our base nameplate and what we need. So I'm not going to go over, the nameplate dimensions on this. I just want to show us how to actually put that DXF file in here. So the first thing you need to do is you need to create a sketch on the model you just extruded. So you can click that face, hit extrude. Oh, sorry. What am I saying? Hit this face, hit sketch. We already did our extrusion. Now the next thing we need to do is import this DXF file. So as you go along this taskbar, we've talked about a lot of the shape stuff. So we sketch circles, we sketch lines, we sketch squares and rectangles. We haven't done as much of this stuff. We've done text before, which we're going to do again with the nameplates. Some of this stuff we can ignore for now. But what we want to look for is inserting a DXF. This might not pop up, so you might have to hit this drop-down menu, but you want to hit Insert DXF. Now this little weird menu is going to pop up, but we need to find our file. So it's not going to be in my current document. So I have to go to Other Documents. Where I put my document is in my Owned by Me. And notice how that file is already up there. DXF files Rabidoo. And then there my Bronco logo is. You have to wait a second. We need to make sure we can click on it. And then that little green arrow is going to pop. The green check mark is going to pop up. It might take a second for that to render. So just give it a minute. You're going to hit the green check mark. Now, you're like, I just uploaded it. Where did it go? You got to zoom out. When these things upload, they're going to upload really big. So we got to zoom all the way out. But now it's like, well, what are these other extra dots? Well, some of this information is extra, and it's actually not really going to affect our image overall. But this is just way too large, right? We don't want it this big. So what I'm going to do is click and drag and highlight that Bronco. Notice how those other ones aren't getting selected. That's just not important information. Now, the next thing is how do I actually make this thing smaller? So there's this tool that we call Transform. So I'm going to go back up to that taskbar right next to that DXF file. And right now it's on linear pattern. But if we hit this drop down menu and you go down a little bit, we have this transform feature. I'm going to click transform. Now look over here. Make sure we aren't clicking anything right away. We want to just make sure hands off that mouse. We don't want to click anything. We want to keep this in this menu. So we have a couple different options here. This up arrow allows us to move our object up and down. We don't want to do that yet. We will have to in a second. This bottom arrow lets us move left or right. We're going to have to do that. But the first thing I need to do is I need to shrink this image. That's where this arrow in the middle comes from. So if I grab that and I shrink it down, 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 right? And we're going to have to adjust this from time to time because if we zoom in, well, where's our actual nameplate? Is it over here? That's just a random point. So this is where we're going to have to move that file. Notice how my nameplate is all the way over here. So this is going to be some guessing and checking, just playing around with things. So I am just going to move this around until I can zoom in a little bit to try and get a little closer to my nameplate. One thing that you can do is when we're shrinking it, it's going to shrink to this point. It's going to want to shrink to that bottom point. So if you can get this point on your sketch on that nameplate, that's going to be a great spot to start and get that onto your nameplate. And then we can play around with it, move this image around, shrink it a little bit more. Now saying, oh, I want this thing tilt a little bit. All you can do is use this one. This one can tilt it around, move it upside down. And I'm just going to get it back to looking just about normal. There we go. Now, when it's all said and done, I like the shape of that. I like the size of it. I like its location. All you got to do is click off to the side. When you might have to zoom out so that we are off the image. Notice how it shrinks? Well, let's zoom back in. All these blue dots, those are okay. Those can just stay for now. But if we zoom all the way back in, we'll see our image. Next thing we can do is if we hit extrude, it's going to highlight the certain pieces of the dots that are connected. So we don't have to select a face. Make sure you stay within that sketch. Then you hit extrude. And as a reminder, our extrusion should be no more than 0.3. I'm going to make this one 0.2, and I'm going to hit my green check mark. So there might be some things that don't click right away. As we noticed, this eye did not highlight. So you might have to go back in and highlight that nose and highlight that eye and allow those to be extruded as well. So if you go back into that extrusion, we want to highlight that eye, we want that extruded, and same thing with that nose. So sometimes you might have to go back and get those inside features into that extrusion. And there we go. Our Keef Deck Bronco logo has been uploaded and we didn't have to do any sketching ourselves. We're able to take an image straight from online, convert it to a usable file, upload it, sketch it, and then we can make it the size we want. And it's a lot easier than having to hand sketch these things in OnShape. Hope that helps.